Conventional approaches to data sonification rely on linearly mapping data to acoustic dimensions. However, the process of auditory scene analysis involves complex perceptual processes to make sense of the sonic world of simultaneous sources. In particular, this project deals with how control settings of sequential and simultaneous sources can result in peculiar ways in which frequencies are interpreted by the brain, and how these phenomena might provide us with an opportunity to design innovative auditory display systems. Quick definitions of the auditory stream. They're a perceptual grouping of parts of a neural spectrogram that go together. They represent a single happening as a stream. It's a perceptual representation, whereas an acoustic event or sound is a physical cause, and a stream is a way of putting sensory information together. With respect to streaming of simultaneous tones, we encounter beating. Two pure tones or complex tones very close in frequency are heard by the listener as beats due to a lack of fine frequency resolution of the auditory system. Combination tones. Event of a tone of a lower frequency when two tones are sounded together. Rapidly alternating two tones. A series of high and low tones at increased rates result in segregation into two distinct streams. Combining two oscillators using FM synthesis, we designed a software interface with an interactive slider corresponding to milestones on a highway. The base frequency of the first tone was 900 Hz, and the second tone increasing in steps of 0.5 Hz across 16 positions on the slider. Listeners were asked to train themselves to correlate the rate of pulsing to their distance on the highway from the origin. Listeners would then play the pulsing tones in a randomized order and had to estimate the distance from the origin using a position on the slider. The results show fairly successful estimation of distance based on the rate of pulsing. However, it is worth noting that listeners estimated higher distances for increased rates of pulsing. The possible reasons for this will be discussed in an upcoming paper. Groups of tones form perceptual units based on spatial and temporal proximity. For instance, a group of lower tones in a melody might group together and skip over the higher tones, resulting the higher tones and the lower tones each forming their own perceptual units. Using a smaller number of sounds, consisting of low and high tones, in a rapidly repeating sequence achieves this sort of segregation. Here, you see a one-of-its-kind interactive time series sonification framework that uses sequential integration to enhance the perception of trends, peaks, and troughs. So first, let's hear what this section sounds like using a conventional method of sonification. And now with sequential integration. Let us consider this section of a small peak. In the conventional sonification method, listeners often have to make a judgment in the silent period after the termination of a tone using a briefly persisting memory of the tone sequence. However, sequential integration eliminates slow cognitive strategies. Notice how the two low points at the base of the hill segregate into a unit separate from the single tip heard as a high tone cluster. Thank you for watching, and get in touch for future explorations.